I've got my recording gear out, I thought I'd have a look at my guitar made by a very talented luthier in Lincolnshire, Adrian Lucas. I still get asked a lot about this, although it's now 3-4 years old now. And I thought I'd talk about the process of commissioning a luthier built guitar, which is something I get asked a lot about as well. Now, if you look on the internet, you'll see quite a lot of contributions from people who are collectors. These are people who spend an enormous amount of money collecting custom-built luthier guitars, and that's fine if you've got the money to do that. Most people considering this, I think, would be like me. So you're looking to to create something for yourself that's a bit special. It's probably a one-off. It's going to be your main guitar, and hopefully one that will last you a few years. So this is particularly pertinent for those of you that are starting off as musicians, maybe young players, certainly not people who can afford to build up a big collection. So anyway, so here we go. So the first thing you'll notice about this guitar is that it doesn't look like an American guitar. It doesn't look like a Gibson or a Martin, and that's quite deliberate because I didn't want that. So the first thing I would say about commissioning a guitar is really be sure you know what you want. You know, what is it you want in a guitar? Now, you can go to one of the high-end guitar shops and pay 2, 3, 4 grand, even more than that, on a guitar, and it'll be fabulous. But the great thing about a custom-built guitar is it will be even better value for money, and it will be custom designed to your specifications, which doesn't make a great deal of sense if you really don't know what you want. So let me take you through what I was trying to do with mine. So I've got two good guitars already. I've got a Santa Cruz OM and a Martin Jumbo. I wanted something that would work for a lot of open tunings. I wanted something that sounded different to that. So I didn't want the standard Martin sound. And I wanted something that had the right kind of space here, and the right kind of string spacing there, and the kind of neck that I wanted as well. So neck profiles are an interesting thing. I've got on my Martin guitar, the neck profile is about right. The OM from Santa Cruz, it's a little bit thin and skinny for me, which is fine if I'm playing country blues or ragtime, but if I'm playing the kind of Celtic finger tiley stuff, it doesn't, just not enough space on it. So I kind of realised quite early on that I was looking for something that had a very different sound for a different type of tuning or playing than American ragtime or country blues. So that was the first thing I needed to know in starting my search. These days there's a lot of information about luthiers on the web. A lot of them have got web pages, a lot of them have YouTube videos where you can get a feel for their sound, but very often they'll describe the kind of guitars that they make. So in my case, looking for something that would be really good with open tunings or alternative tunings, quite a lot of luthiers will now say, you know, my guitars love open tunings or alternative tunings. So I started looking around and I started putting a short list together, doing a bit of research on the web, and I had a maker on the south coast. I had a maker in Scotland, just north of Edinburgh. And then I began to realise actually that wasn't going to work for me. I needed somebody who was a little bit closer to home. I live in Birmingham. in the England Midlands. Now, a lot of people do deal with luthiers purely by email or over the phone or whatever, and that's fine if you're confident doing that. I was looking to find somebody who I could go and visit, hopefully play the guitars, and develop a relationship with. So I found Adrian Lucas on the web, and I was intrigued by a comment attributed to Pierre Bensouzan, who said that Adrian's guitars sounded very European, almost medieval, and I thought, yeah, that's an interesting starting point. I kind of understand that, and that's a very different sound to the Martin sound. So I shortlisted Adrian, and then, as chance would have it, I had a piece of work not far from him that would take a couple of hours, and I arranged to go and see him. I went to see him, and immediately he gave me his own guitar to play. And the moment I played it, I realised this was a really good sound. And suddenly the confidence started building. One of the things about luthiers is that they don't carry lots and lots of their own guitars around. They often sell them as soon as they make them. But if you arrange to visit somebody in advance, they can usually pull one back from somebody they've sold one to, or a friend they've given one to. So I ended up with Adrian Lucas. I went to visit him, played his own guitar, and it was fabulous, I thought. So that was my starting off point. So there we had to get into all this stuff about their design, the kind of woods you have, and so on. And Adrian dealt with this by saying to me, look, bring along with you your favourite guitar, and I can hear you play, and you can talk about what you like about it. But I also talked about what I didn't like about it as well. So I played quite a lot for Adrian, and he, one of the skills of luthiers that you don't quite expect really is that they can interpret the kind of instrument you want from listening to the style that you're playing. So first of all, we started with woods. You'll notice there's not much bling on this guitar. It's just wood. I really don't like lots of dead shellfish on my guitars, and neither does Adrian, so it was quite a good match there. He likes to bring out the best quality in wood. So I told him that normally I choose a spruce top over a cedar top, and often end up with a rosewood body over say mahogany. So as I started to play, Adrian said, yeah, we'll have Sitka spruce for the top, and I would say, what, not European spruce? No, Sitka spruce. And then we talked about the back and sides. Now these are, a wood called Wenge, I think, Wenge. It's an African wood, used quite a lot in furniture, only just beginning to be used in guitars. It's one of these woods that's supposedly quite close to Brazilian rosewood. It's very crystalline in its makeup. And Adrian figured that would be a good combination for me for the music that he'd heard me playing. And at that point you realise that actually this is a joint project. It's as much his guitar as it is yours. That was fine. So I was going to have a Sitka spruce top over a Wenge back and sides. Some people, you read about them that turn up with their own wood, or they have a very, very preconceived idea of the sound of particular woods. But the reality is a luthier will be looking for a particularly good piece of wood that taps and rings in the right kind of way, and then they will design the guitar, estimate the thickness of the top, work out the bracing that they need, very much in relation to what you want and the wood that they've got. So I think when you come into a hand-built guitar like this, you have to trust the luthier quite a bit. And really, I mean, if I'd have said to him I wanted European spruce rather than Sitka, I mean, if I'm honest, I really don't know what I'm talking about. So there's a big element of trust in this, which is quite unusual. When I bought both of my previous guitars that I have, I must have spent hours in the store playing them. And I think on both occasions I went in thinking I would buy another guitar, and it was only through the playing that I really realised over time I like these particular instruments. So you don't have that luxury when you're commissioning a guitar like this. So you really need to know what you're going to do, and then it becomes a joint project. You're putting your trust in the luthier's hand. Now, a few other things that were significant to me is that I stopped playing jumbo guitars a long time ago. This is a small jumbo, I guess. And I assumed when I went in to commission my guitar that I'd be looking at a 000 size body, or maybe even a bit smaller. But when I played Adrian's guitar, which was one of these Pavillion small jumbos, I realised that's the sound I wanted. I'd stopped playing the bigger size guitars because I was getting a lot of pain in my wrist or my arm there. And when I moved to a thinner body guitar, that went away. So Adrian's solution to this was to use this model, but to use a Linda Manza designed wedge. So if I can show you the guitar like that, you'll see the guitar is actually thinner at this side than it is on that side. So it's thinner than the standard Pavillion, and the idea of that is to make this area here more comfortable. And I think this area at the base is a little bit wider than normal, so the volume in the guitar is the same as in the standard model. And that works really well. This is a very comfortable guitar to hold. It doesn't feel as big as my Martin Jumbo because this is much more compressed here. That was good. Other things that we did, the fingerboard here is made of, I think it's Makassar ebony. And you might not be able to see it here, but it's not the jet black ebony that you often associate with guitars. Apparently, when an ebony tree is chopped down, you don't know whether you're going to get that jet black ebony or whether you're going to get something that's a bit more variable in the shades of the colour. And so this stuff has been thrown away for years and years, and new luthiers are beginning to realise it's still a great wood, finger wood, and I think it looks fantastic. I don't mind that at all. The rosette here, again, is I think made out of yew, and is a natural wooden design. So it's an all wood guitar, Sitka spruce top, Wenge back and sides, mahogany neck. Go-to 510 tuners. You can spend a lot more on tuners than you like, but I think these are fabulous. I don't have any problems with these. A cutaway, which is quite useful. And this arrangement here, which is always a talking point. This is a multi-scale guitar, or a fanfret as it's known. And I'm going to discuss that in a specific second video because people want to know a little bit about fanfrets. So that's my guitar and a little bit about commissioning it. Really make sure you know what you want. Do you want a guitar for country blues? Do you want a good all-rounder? Do you want something for that kind of Celtic style playing? What kind of scale length do you want? All of those things, flow into the mix, and a good luthier will hear you play and will talk to you a bit about the kind of music you want to get into, or the guitar, or what you want the guitar to specialise for. And there you go. Then comes the big day. So you pay your deposit and you go away for a number of months and kind of forget about it. And then as the day gets closer, you turn up, and then another panic ensues because, of course, when you've been buying that expensive guitar in the guitar shop, you know what it sounds like. You played it. So you turn up to pick up your guitar and you think, oh, has it worked? Has it worked? And you pick it up and you strum the first notes and you think, oh, fabulous. And then you realise that the action that you've got on the neck is just about right. It's because you've designed it with the luthier for actually your hands, your style. And the great skill of these individual luthiers is to be able to interpret what you want or the music you're interested in and to design the guitar specifications from that. But it does involve some trust on your part. So it's a fascinating process. I'd encourage anybody who's really seriously considering to buy a high-end guitar or put a bit of money into their first decent guitar to consider having one custom built, because you will get more guitar for your money. You're not dealing with a store, a middleman, or import fees from the United States. So if you want something more European, yeah, you can find them here. If you want something that's a classic American style, you can find that here as well. And I will just finish by saying, you know, there are schools of luthier in the States that are now very, very popular. But what's very clear as you begin to explore UK and European makers is that the quality here is just as good, with a slightly different distinctive flavour. So I'd encourage you to have a look at it. Do your research, narrow down your luthiers, and then talk to them. And if possible, go and visit them, because it's that relationship, having a good relationship that's a really comfortable one, that will give you the confidence to take the plunge. Anyhow, there you go, and I'll be back in a little bit and to talk a bit about this fanfare arrangement.